So welcome back to the Ocala National Forest. I'm bass fishing, or just fishing in general, at my favorite fishing spot, Stowe Lake. It's Memorial Day, Monday morning, Memorial Day. I want to thank all of those that served. I want to thank all of those that gave their lives unselfishly for this great nation, and the families that suffered the loss. Well, you're not forgotten, and we appreciate the sacrifice, and I want you to know there's at least one person out there that cares, and that's me. I've got members of my family that served, and members of my family that are serving now, and yeah, I'm thankful for that. I've applied for my quota permits for my favorite management areas, and it always leads me to look at the numbers and to crunch those numbers and to, oop, I got one. Come on, baby. Come to Papa. Okay. This fight has not yet begun. Here we go. Come on. Easy does it now. Right on up. Right on up. Heck yeah! That's what you call a slap. No words. Dadgummit! Alright, so that's the third time it's happened this morning. I had one break my line. That was a slab. That was what you call a speckled perch. I mean, a good one too. God, dog, man. God, that just makes you sick to your stomach. So let's put it back out there. Let's not give up. God. How come that had to come off? So anyway, if you hunt and fish, you got to be prepared for disappointment. Disappointment comes when there's a world of variables. All right? So I applied for my quota permits, and I was looking at numbers. I look at total acres, and then I try and decipher what portion of that management area is actually huntable versus what's unhuntable. That there'll always be portions of a management area that you cannot hunt because it's unhuntable. It's just nasty, right? And the numbers of hunters that go in there and their guests, and try and come up with a formula that I kind of turn to when choosing a management area, but it never works, and here's why. Yeah, so as you saw there, I was getting kind of frustrated with the circumstances. It seemed like one fish after another were coming off. Right at the side of the boat, I had a big old fish. I don't know what it was, broke my line right there at the side of the boat. I think it was a big old catfish, like a 5 or 6 pound catfish. Just come off, man. I would have loved to have brought that fish home. But you'll see there in the slideshow that I caught a big old bass. I caught a big old bass. When I finally was able to make that turn and start going the other way, it felt like that I was going down the road for failure. And one fish after another was coming up, and I was allowing my frustrations to add to the atmosphere of failure. And that can happen to us sometimes when we go fishing or hunting, that sometimes we feel like that nothing is going right. And we have to create an event that helps us turn that corner and start going the other way. Sometimes I feel like that happens to me at work. Sometimes I feel like nothing's going right, and I just have to stop and take a break and rethink things and don't get too frustrated. And sometimes I get really frustrated. And you heard me tell the story last week of the season that I shot the bull elk and was unable to recover that bull and thought about quitting. I thought maybe this was the end of my hunting. And I managed to persevere and ended up coming home and having the deer season of a lifetime. And that just happened. It really wasn't anything that I did to make it happen. Things just kind of turned and went that way. I don't know why the universe acts that way, but sometimes it does. It's a little strange. But knowing that things can turn and things can go, we were talking about deer numbers. We were talking about hunter numbers. And I always crunch those numbers. Yeah, I interrupted the video there on the lake because I couldn't keep a good train of thought. But acres. How many acres is the management area that you want to hunt? I used to do this all the time. I'd say I want to look at how many acres there are. I want to look at how much of that habitat is actually huntable. Some of it is unhuntable. Some of it you don't dare go in because it's just too nasty. So then there's deer hunter numbers. How many hunters do they allow on that area? And if it's 6,000 acres and half of it is unhuntable, that gives you 3,000 acres to hunt. And then they're going to allow 100 hunters on that management. A good example of that one would be Jumper Creek. Jumper Creek has quota permits for muzzleloader and the first 9 days. It's 10,000 acres. Half of it is pretty nasty. Half of it is kind of unhuntable, inaccessible. Don't even bother. And it's a long journey to some of those spots. And you wonder if it's really even worth your time. But here's the thing. Numbers, how many acres there are, quota permits, and the numbers of people that hunt it, and the actual deer that live on that management area. And there are deer on all of those management areas. There are desirable deer on all of those management areas. And regardless of how many people they put on them, they can't seem to kill them all. And that's the first thing you've got to get into your head, that, okay, there is a deer in there that I can hunt on any management area anywhere. And that it falls on me to have the mindset that I can do this hunt, and that there's a very good chance. What the numbers don't reflect is effort. What the numbers don't reflect is your positive state of mind. What the numbers don't reflect is hours in the stand. And how many people are getting out of their stand, go to the store, or to go home, or they hunt for a couple of hours, and then they give up, or they don't hunt no more, or they go to check on their buddy, or they want to go, here's a popular one, they want to go to the check station to see if anybody's checked in any deer. And you go to the check station, and there's all this crowd of people looking at somebody else's deer. Well, if they're looking at somebody else's deer, they're not going to be looking at their own deer. They're going to be looking at somebody else's. Why? Because they're not in the stand. These things are far more important than how many acres a management area is. It's far more important than how many quota permits, or how many people show up, or how many people don't show up. Success lies within our own ability to function as good hunters. That the numbers really mean very little. I used to do it all the time. I'd say, wow, they allowed 200 people on that management area. And I'd see there on the bulletin board that only 4 deer were killed out of 200 hunters. Holy smokes, what is that? 2%? 2% success rate? Why do I even bother? And then I learned that it doesn't reflect my effort. I went out on that same management area and had an opportunity on a deer when I didn't think there'd be any chance at all. I didn't kill that deer, but I had an opportunity on one. And it was my inability to be positive that kept me from being aware and focused and having a good, clean mental attitude about the hunt that caused me to miss that opportunity. Yeah, that won't happen again. I'll fall asleep and miss a deer before I'll let my mental attitude dictate how I feel about a hunt. If I don't feel positive about a hunt, if I don't feel like that this is going to work, I'm gonna go someplace else and find a place that does make me feel that way. Okay, and I love hunting close to home. I would rather do more hunting than do driving. But if you feel like you need to travel to get to a management area that you feel like you're going to be better equipped to manage your thought process, well then by all means take that drive. I love to drive to Gothey. I love to hunt Gothey. Gothey's an hour and a half away. If I'm going to hunt Gothey, that's a 3 hours worth of driving. I want to hunt at least 6 hours in the stand. That's a 9-hour day. That's a long day. 3 hours worth of driving, an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back. I want to have at least 6 hours in the stand. So I'm going to leave home when it's dark, and I'm probably going to come home when it's dark. So yeah, that's gonna be my process. All right, so we're giving away a copy of my book. Reese Dobson was the 10th email. He sent me some pictures too. Thank you for those pictures, Reese. I want to send you a copy of my book, Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. And Ronnie said, please send me a copy of your book. So I'm going to send one to Reese. A copy of my book, Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. Now the only thing that you have to do is give somebody something in return. I'm giving you this free book. Yeah, I think they call that paying it forward or something. I don't know. But I'm going to send you a copy. So I sent you an email. Send me your address. Reese, I sent you an email. Send me your address. I've got some copies. I'm going to give some more away. I appreciate all of the response and everybody that wants a copy of my book. But I'll give some more away. Pay attention, it's coming. And we'll be doing more book events if you want to come and chit chat with me about deer hunting and wildlife management areas and just, things in general. Well, I'm going to make myself available. We'll do another book event where you can come and buy a copy of my book, Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. Or you can go to Pat's Pawn and Gun website in Leesburg, Florida. Click on publications. My copy of my book will come up if you're interested in having a copy. Pat's Pawn and Gun in Leesburg, Florida. On their website, click on publications. It'll come up. I think they're $15 plus shipping and handling. So if you buy one from them, I really appreciate it. So that's today's video. Hope you get the hunt that you want. If not, let's go hunting in an area that doesn't require a quota permit. All right, love you guys. See ya. Bye.